Hello, my name is Trevor Lewis, and I will be introducing you to the Toyota Way and the 5 actionable insights I've found most useful for you to apply to your own business to step up your strategy and improve profits. There are many innovative strategies in the Toyota Way that led to the Toyota company's success in the competitive automotive industry. I believe these strategies can be applied to a variety of industries, and especially industries that start on a small scale and have goals of scaling up. And based off Toyota's success, it will be incredibly profitable for you to do as well. Throughout all of Toyota's factories, they're able to apply specific strategies to consistently make the highest quality cars with the fewest defects of any competing manufacturer. They do this all while using fewer employee hours, a fraction of the investors, and half the factory space of its competitors. The management principles and business philosophy of Toyota can be applied to your business as well to profit from and gain a reputation for quality and reliability. Would you like to eliminate wasted time and resources, build quality into workplace systems, find low-cost but reliable alternatives to expensive new technology, produce in small quantities, and also turn every employee into a quality control inspector? When you execute my insights, you will standardize all these goals into a viable business with longevity. The first insight I have learned from the Toyota Way is the lean production system and how Toyota applies it to achieve success. The Toyota production system is Toyota's unique approach to manufacturing and the basis for much of the lean production movement that has dominated manufacturing trends for the last 30 years or more. Most attempts by companies have not been comprehensive enough and have focused too heavily on cleaning and organizing factories without understanding lean as an entire system that must permeate an organization's culture. Yes, having a clean and organized factory exposes hidden problems, but will senior management immediately resolve issues as they arise, or will they wait until total failure before acting on a problem? This leads to more expensive problems down the stream that would be avoided if senior management stayed involved in the day-to-day operations and continuous improvement efforts that are at the center of the lean. Toyota, a Japanese company, was fighting for survival after World War II and faced very different business conditions than Ford and GM faced. While Ford and GM used mass production, economies of scale, and big equipment to produce large volumes of parts as cheaply as possible, Toyota's market in post-war Japan was small. Toyota had to make a variety of vehicles on the same assembly line to satisfy its customers. Think about a small brewery with a small customer base. A small brewery can only make quantity of beer reflected by their predicted sales. If that small brewery overproduced, they would lose money with beer that doesn't sell and becomes expired. That small brewery must produce on a small scale on one assembly line while satisfying a variety of products, much like Toyota had to make a variety of vehicles on the same assembly line to satisfy their customers. Thus, the key to these operations is flexibility. As your company is confronted with this challenge, there's a critical discovery I want to illustrate. When you make lead times short and focus on keeping production lines flexible, you actually achieve higher quality, better customer responsiveness, better productivity, and better utilization of equipment and space. When you run a smaller business compared to your competitors, you are inevitably forced to strategically lean or else doors will shut quickly. Even when you scale up, it is profitable to apply these strategies because it is designed around being lean. This discovery became the foundation for Toyota's success globally in the 21st century. Here are some ways to ensure lean production. Often the best thing you can do is to idle a machine and stop producing parts. You do this to avoid overproduction, which is considered the fundamental waste in the Toyota production system. Often it is best to build up an inventory of finished goods in order to level out the production schedule, rather than produce according to fluctuating demand of customer orders. Often, it is best to selectively add and substitute overhead for direct labor. When waste is stripped away from your value-adding workers, you need to provide high-quality support for them, as you would support a surgeon performing a critical operation. Toyota has an additional level called team leaders, who are offline, ready to jump in when any team member asks for help. It may not be a top priority to keep your workers busy making parts as fast as possible. You should produce parts at the same rate of customer demand. Working faster just for the sake of getting the most out of your workers is another form of overproduction and can actually lead to employing more labor overall. It It is best to selectively use automation and information technology, and sometimes better to use manual processes even when automation is available and would seem to justify its cost in reducing your headcount. People are the most flexible resource you have. Automation is a fixed investment, and people, not computers, can continually improve processes. Often, planning slowly and carefully, then experimenting, then deploying efficiently is faster than rushing to judgment and implementing immediately. Toyota plans in great detail and will pilot anything new before spreading the new practice throughout the organization. Further deployment is then fast and efficient. It seems like these solutions to particular problems often seem to add waste rather than eliminate it. The reason for this seemingly paradoxical approach is derived from senior management's experiences walking the shop floor. They discovered that non-value added waste had little to do with running labor and equipment as hard as possible, and had everything to do with the manner in which raw material is transformed into sellable commodity. Toyota's senior management learned to observe the value stream of the raw materials moving to finished product that the customer is willing to pay for, and learned to identify stagnation where value was not flowing. This was a radically different approach from the mass production thinking that focused on identifying, enumerating, and eliminating the waste and effort in separate production processes. Another key insight I learned from the Toyota way is that Toyota used pull systems to avoid overproduction. Toyota noticed that individual departments building products to a schedule using a push system would naturally overproduce and create large banks of inventory. And as I discussed, overproduction is the fundamental waste. Toyota came up with the idea of creating small amounts of shop stock between operations to control the inventory. The idea is simple. When employees begin to use a container of parts, it triggers producing another container of parts. When the employees do not need the parts, the container sits in the employee's buffer and nothing needs to be produced. This helps limit overproduction because there is a clear and simple connection between what factory employees need and what the company produces. You need a way to signal that the assembly line is low on parts. Toyota used simple signals such as cards, empty bins, and empty carts. Toyota coined the term Kanban for this. In today's world, you can use high-speed electronic communication to replicate this. How can you apply Kanban to everyday life in other industries? Well, how do you decide when to buy a standard grocery item you keep at home? You notice when inventory is running low on an item and say, "Yup, I better go and buy this amount of that." Similarly, for filling your vehicle with gas or replenishing your windshield wiper fluid, you look at the level and decide when to replenish. I found that Kanban insight important because you can apply it to your business and you can use that to avoid overproduction. The third key insight I found essential from the Toyota way is leveling out the workload, like the tortoise, not the hare. In general, when you try to apply the Toyota production system to your business, the first thing you have to do is even out or level the production. And this is the responsibility primarily of production control or production management people. Leveling out the production schedule may require some front loading of shipments or postponing of shipments, and you may have to ask some customers to wait for a short period of time. Having loyal customers to your brand helps with this. In the on-demand world we live in, lean companies will seek to make exactly what the customers want when they want it. Unfortunately, customers are not predictable, and orders vary significantly from day to day and week to week. For your business to ensure better quality, you should level out the production schedule and don't always produce in the sequence of customer orders. Why torture your manufacturing managers and create a huge amount of waste in the process to build an order received today when the customers won't get the product for weeks anyway? Instead, why not accumulate some order and level out the schedule? Follow this approach for your business and you will be able to reduce production lead times, cut your parts inventories, and quote much shorter standard lead times to all your customers, resulting in greater overall customer satisfaction than you'll get from a hurry up, then slow down, build to order kind of method. The fourth essential insight from the Toyota way you can apply to your business is using visual control to support people in decision making and problem solving. When all employees have a visual representation of what they are working on, it will help their brains accomplish tasks much easier. We are incredible at remembering pictures. Hear a piece of information, and 3 days later, you will remember 10% of it. Add a picture, and you will remember 65%. Pictures beat text as well, in part because reading is so inefficient for us. Our brain sees words as lots of tiny pictures, and we have to identify certain features in the letters to be able to read them. It wastes time. Why does vision resonate so much with us? Perhaps because it's how we have always apprehended major threats, food supplies, and reproductive opportunity. So rather than fight our natural human tendencies, you should choose to build on them. This visual aspect can be used in defense of the importance of keeping a clean factory or workspace. For example, try approaching a coworker and ask to see a specific document on their computer. Watch to see if the person can immediately find and extract the document on their first try. The more time it takes, and perhaps the person's frustration level, will most likely tell you at a glance whether your coworker's way of visually organizing is in control or out of control. Additionally, in your workplace, are there charts and graphs that tell you if today the managers are ahead or behind schedule? Visual control is key. The 5 S's is important to remember. Sort. Sort through items and keep only what is needed while disposing of what is not. Straighten. A place for everything and everything in its place. Shine. The cleaning process often acts as a form of inspection that exposes abnormal and pre-failure conditions that could hurt quality or cause machine failure. Standardize. Create rules and develop systems and procedures to maintain and monitor the first 3 S's. Sustain. Using self-discipline and maintaining a stabilized workplace is an ongoing process of continuous improvement as conditions change. In mass production for your business, you must use the 5 S's or else waste accumulates over the years, covering up your problems and becoming accepted dysfunctional way of doing business. This will allow you to improve your work environment, thus keeping lean. The 5th and final insight I learned from the Toyota Way that is essential for your business is a combination of the previous 4 insights executed together to achieve success. Your company must learn its way to the future through bold strategy, some large leaps, and many small steps. Toyota envisions vehicles that connect with customers, making them smile. And they want to lead the future of mobility society, enriching lives around the world with the safest and most responsible ways of moving people. The way your company will do this is by engaging the talent and passion of people who believe there's always a better way. The engine driving your company forward will be the respect for people and continuous improvement. Thank you for listening to my consultation on how to apply the Toyota Production System strategies to your business.